Hey everybody, this is George from dinosaurgeorge.com. Yesterday I posted a video and I told you about a project I wanted to do. And I told you the project date was going to be November 25th. Well, that's the very day that I posted it. So foolish me, I didn't look at the calendar close enough. So I posted a correction on there and hopefully a lot of you saw that. But because I gave you the wrong date, a lot of you jumped on and followed my directions and sent me a question. And because you did that, I'm going to go ahead and answer your questions now, but I'm still going to do the event. So for those of you that don't know about this, on December 2nd, 2012, that's this coming Sunday, at 1 p.m. Central Time, I'm going to take as many questions as I can from you because I know a lot of you send me questions repeatedly and never seem to get on. So this Sunday, December 2nd, 2012, at 1 p.m. Central Time, at 12:59, we're going to wipe the slate clean, and then we're going to start answering the questions in the order that I get them, and that's what I'm going to do now. So, yesterday, at 1:01 p.m., Sandro from Ulrich, Netherlands says, "Hi DG, great to hear from you again." Great to hear from you, Sandro. Suppose this time, this is the second time I've asked you a question. This time it's a bit of a what-if question. I like these. Suppose dinosaurs were to be brought back to the modern ecosystems. Do you think they would be able to cope with today's climate and mammal competitors? Woo! Do you think they would be outcompeted? Could you name a kind of dinosaur that would do well today? I understand dinosaurs didn't evolve in today's ecosystems, which would give them a disadvantage, but perhaps some of them could fill in a niche. I think giant theropods and duckbills might do well in Africa. Greetings from Holland, Sandro. Sandro, this is a brilliant question, man. Brilliant. Okay, first of all, would they be able to survive in the environment? Well, because it appears that our oxygen content is less than it used to be, it would probably be difficult for them to a degree. Because my best guess is that their bodies were really designed to be able to live in a little higher oxygen-rich environment. So for instance, if you took an elephant and moved it to the top of Mount Everest, it would have a very difficult time surviving because it would be used to a higher percentage of oxygen, which you don't find up in the mountains. So that would probably mean that they would be at a bit of a disadvantage if they were big. So if we could bring them back, I think the ones that would probably do well would probably the raptors. Raptors would probably do pretty well because they're smaller in stature and therefore they don't require the same amount of oxygen intake. That would slow them down, I think, but they probably would do pretty well. That's a very good question. Now, as for some of the herbivores, there's still a lot of plants alive today that were living at the time of them. So certainly it would suggest that they could probably do well as well. Your thoughts about the theropods and duckbills doing well in Africa? I can't disagree with that. I think that's kind of a cool analogy looking at what's happening today in that continent. So this is a very interesting question. My best guess would be yes. I do believe some of them could survive, probably flourish. I don't know if they would be able to outcompete some of the mammals, because mammals' bigger brains would certainly give them an advantage. But the biggest disadvantage for them would be the amount of oxygen in the environment. All right, also coming in at 1:01 p.m. yesterday, Yong Huang from, is this Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada? Is that right? Fredericton? I think that's right. Young Wan, I think that is. Anyway, hello DG, I hope you're doing very well. I am, my friend, and I hope you're doing well as well. I've realized that Nanotyrannus reached about 9 millimeters in size. I mean millimeters, good grief, 9 meters. That would be the ultimate nano. Nanotyrannus reached 9 meters in size. Then who would win in a fight between a 9 meter Albertosaurus and a 9 meter Nanotyrannus? And if Tyrannosaurus wins in a fight, can it defeat T-Rex in a fight? Hope you answered my question, sir. Well, thank you for your courtesy, my friend. I am answering your question. Okay. Albertosaurus, Nanotyrannus. What would happen? This would be a toss-up. I don't know if I could tell you who would win in a fight between those two dinosaurs. They're very similar in body design. Some people even think they're the same dinosaur. Yikes. That would be a tough one. I cannot give you a fair answer because I just don't know. But that's a great question. As for being able to defeat Tyrannosaurus Rex, even if it was a young Tyrannosaurus the same size as a Nanotyrannus, in my opinion, Tyrannosaurus Rex is so much stronger built that I think just in sheer body mass, he would be a tough animal to beat for a dinosaur like Nanotyrannus. But anyway, thank you so much. I'm glad you were able to write. At 1:03 p.m., this one came from David from Norwood, Pennsylvania. Hello again, George Blassing. Hello again, David Norwood. I hope you're doing better with the change of the seasons than I am, because the leaves are falling and are causing me to sneeze my head off. Not literally. Good. Good, David. I would be terrified to find out your head actually flew off. But I'm with you, brother. I know exactly how you feel because allergies have been killing me lately. I have 2 questions. I am currently writing a book with a unique idea about dinosaurs that nobody has thought of yet. Good for you. One day when it's finished, I'll publish it. Well, one day when you publish it, I'll be the first guy to buy a copy. Do you have any advice for book writers? Well, if you're writing a fictional book, then my advice would be to try to use as many facts as you can. I get very frustrated, like for instance, the first Jurassic Park when they added the frill to Dilophosaurus. I think Dilophosaurus is an incredibly cool dinosaur, but to add that frill and to be spitting that goo in your face, that stuff to me is not necessary. So I think if you're going to write a book, even if it's a fictional book, you should still go with facts. And the reason why I say that is because if young people read your book, it's hard for them sometimes to distinguish the difference between fact and fiction. So you want to be able to give them as many factual pieces of information as you can. That's just my opinion. Now for your second questions. Do paleontologists ever have time for romance? I have a crush on a girl that I would like to ask out to the senior prom this summer, but I don't want to sacrifice my love of paleontology. Here's my thing, buddy. I've had a lot of girlfriends in my life. I've been married twice, but my first marriage, I really didn't discuss much about my love of paleontology. But every girl I've ever dated, and even my second wife, understood that I love dinosaurs. And to them, it was no different than if I said I love football. And so most of the paleontologists I know of are married, and I think they're happily married, and they don't necessarily find somebody who loves their science. Let me tell you this, you guys would be amazed at the women that I've dated and my first and second wife. They were not the outdoorsy type. They didn't like to go fossil hunting with me. They didn't like to go fishing with me. They were the girly girls. They were the makeup and the fancy clothes and stuff. And the only reason why is because I'm not necessarily interested in somebody that will do something with me all the time, if that makes sense to you. And so I wouldn't hesitate a second to ask the girl out that you want to ask out on a date. Ask her to the prom, and it has nothing to do with your love of dinosaurs. If you have a relationship with her and things grow, let me put it to you this way, David. If she's the right girl for you, she's not going to care what you like. She's going to care who you are. And the same needs to go for you. If she doesn't like paleontology, that's irrelevant if she's a good girl and she's friendly and kind to other people. Those are the things that you should look for. That's what I look for in a girl. That's a really cool question, though, but it's the first time I ever had that asked. All right, at 1:04 p.m., this one came from Chris in Wausau, Wisconsin. And thank you, Chris, for writing out the pronunciation of it, because you know I'm terrible at it. Hi, DG. Thanks for being my friend on Facebook. It's my pleasure, Chris. Thank you for being a friend on Facebook. And notice this time I didn't say what I say before, Friends Book. Wow. Do you think that injuries on T-Rex and Allosaurus were from battles against their own family members or hunting? Wow. I'm the one that sent you the Allosaurus picture on Facebook. Love that picture. Chris, that was a very cool picture of Allosaurus. Do I think the injuries are caused from family battles or hunting? More than likely, I believe broken and healed bones that we find on Tyrannosaurs and on Allosaurs are probably the end result of hunting, not fighting with members of their own family. The reason why I say that is because fights between members of their own family are usually limited, and they usually don't go so far as to actually begin to break bone. A predator is going to back down from a member of its own family if that member is bigger or stronger. So it wouldn't continue fighting until it breaks a bone because of the damage that it can cause and the possibility that the animal could ultimately die from those injuries. But when it comes time for hunting, it's a different strategy. They're not so concerned about injuries. They're concerned about survival. And in that particular case, in my opinion, they would absolutely attack with the force of a tornado and went flying in there and would probably break a bone during that. All right, at 107 yesterday, this one came from Zach, the Steel City Tiger from Uniontown, Pennsylvania. This is my very good friend, Zach. Let's see if I remember how to ask a question. How are you doing, my friend? Zach, I'm doing great. I always enjoy hearing from you on Facebook. I always enjoy hearing from you, buddy. I have two questions for you today. First off, how much territory would be needed for a dinosaur like Tyrannosaurus Rex or even Allosaurus? Wow. I like this. I like this a lot. That's a tough one because it would depend on intake. My best guess, Zach, would be something like a Tyrannosaurus Rex would probably stake off and claim 10, maybe 15 square miles as being what he or she thinks as their turf. And they probably patrolled it pretty regularly. The younger Tyrannosaurs certainly couldn't control an area that big because they just wouldn't be able to have the stamina, in my opinion. So I think once the big ones grew up, I think a 10-mile, 15-mile radius might have been something that would have been realistic. Excuse me, perhaps with Allosaurus it would have been a little bit less because he's not as big of a dinosaur, doesn't require as much intake, and therefore wouldn't require as much land. And who would win in a fight between an Amur tiger and an African lion? I know it's not a dinosaur question, but I thought I'd ask anyway. Thanks for your time, your friend. Oh, what's his name again? Zach. Zach, love your sense of humor. Ooh, fight between an African lion and a tiger. You know, honestly, I think a tiger would probably have an advantage. I study modern animals, so I look at animals pretty closely, and I believe a tiger has a little more agility, probably would have given it an advance. It's certainly a little bit heavier, I think, than African lion. So that would be my best guess. Good to hear from you. Please say hi to your dad for me, Zach. All right, at 1:10 p.m. yesterday, this one came from Nathan from Ray Point, Texas. Woohoo! Dear Uncle George, oh my gosh, this is Nathan. This is my adopted nephew, Nathan. This is Nathan Hales, your buddy. Nathan, it is great to hear from you, my little nephew. I wanted to ask you if it was possible that Deltadromeus was related to Rugops. Did they live in the same time and continent? What were their closest relatives and possibly enemies? Love, Nathan from Dinosaur Hill in Ray Point, Texas. P.S. My dad is a big fan, as I am. He says you're really cool. Well, I think your dad is one of the coolest guys I know. He's a very good friend of mine, Nathan. And to you and all of your brothers and sisters, I hope you had a good Thanksgiving, and I hope you have a Merry Christmas. And I love you guys, and I miss you, and I wish I could see you more. All right, Deltadromeus and Rugops. No, these were two distinctively different dinosaurs, and the reason why is because of the headgear. You look at the head. Deltadromeus is kind of a sleek dinosaur that's kind of a fast guy, relied on speed. He had, if I remember correctly, a little more slender snout. Rugops, on the other hand, has sort of a bulldog head. He kind of looks like a rough and tough, ugly little dude. He's more of an abelosaur, I think, if I understand correctly. So I know that these guys, well, they certainly were related. That was your question. Now, are they the same thing? Are they related? Yeah, all predatory dinosaurs are related. They all belong to the theropods, but I believe that they're not very closely related, Nathan. I don't think they're as closely related as to really call them cousins necessarily. They're distant cousins, but they're not really the same. All right, you know what? I am out of time. I've got to stop this one. That's as many as I could get to this time. For all of you that I misled and gave you the wrong date and time, I'm very sorry for doing that. All right, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop this video, and I'm going to shoot one more to cover the rest of you guys that wrote to me yesterday. So, for now, that's it. I'll post another one in about probably another 20 minutes after this one. For everybody out there, if you've got a question, go to my website, dinosaurgeorge.com. Click on the Ask Dinosaur George page and submit it. For you young people, practice your reading. Practice your reading. That goes for you, young Hale family, my little nieces and nephews. You make sure you guys keep practicing your reading. And for everybody, thank you for the courtesy. Thank you for the good manners. Makes the world a better place. I'll see you guys in a bit.